Hello, and welcome back to my readings of the projection of the astral body with Sylvan, Muldoon and Hereward, Carrington. We're still within chapter 7, starting on page 144 today, which is Dr. Landler's views on energy. Thank you very much for continuing to follow along with the readings of the book. I do appreciate it. Any likes or comments that you'd like to make, or indeed any questions that you have. I welcome any sharings of astral projection that you've experienced yourself, or sleep paralysis, or anything along those lines which fall in line with this topic. I find it absolutely fascinating to hear about other people's experiences. So if you do have your own, please feel free to share. It will be greatly received. Thank you so much. Okay, page 144, Dr. Lindler's view on energy. Let us now turn our attention for a few moments to what Dr. Henry Lindler, world-famous food scientist and exponent of nature's cures, has to say in answer to the question, "For what reason do we eat and drink?" says Dr. Lindler. The majority of people would reply, "Why, everyone knows that from food and drink we derive our strength." Are you so sure about this? Do you really believe that the large amount of animal heat and vital energy which the human body manufactures, radiates and expends every 24 hours is derived from a few pounds of food consumed in the course of the day? Any hard-working labourer or athlete spends an enormous amount of power and energy every day. A healthy individual may continue to do this for several weeks without taking any food whatsoever. The best proof that not all the heat and muscular energy of the body are derived from the combustion of food materials is furnished by a long fast. Of late years, since fasting has become popular as a natural remedy, many thousands of people have fasted from 4 to 10 weeks at a stretch. The majority of these marathon fasters report but slight loss in physical energy. Many claim that they are stronger at the end of the fast than at the beginning. The loss of animal heat is negligible, while in some cases the temperature declines a fraction of a degree, or a degree in the majority of cases it remains normal. We have verified this in hundreds of cases under close observation in our institutions. To cite a case from personal observation, one of our patients suffering from typhoid fever did not take any food except water for 7 weeks. At the end of that time, his body temperature was normal. During the last 2 weeks of the fast, he lost only 2 pounds. Another patient afflicted with cancer of the stomach lived 2 years on a few ounces of food daily, mostly white of egg and fruit juices. His temperature was normal almost to the last. Whether sweltering under the tropical sun of the equator or freezing in the Arctic cold, the temperature of the body was exactly the same. If it drops or rises a few degrees below or above normal, death ensues. This regulation of animal heat, regardless of the surrounding temperature, and, within certain limits, regardless of the quantity and quality of food consumed, is one of the greatest mysteries of our wonderful human organism. If foods were the only source of animal heat and working energy, fasting for a long period would be impossible. The temperature of the body would sink below normal soon after the commencement of the fast. It may be said that, while abstaining from food, the body lives upon itself, that it consumes its own tissues. This, however, does not account for the production of all the heat and energy expended during the fast. Continuing this subject, Lindler says if foods, do not give life, what then? Are the functions of food and drink in the economy of the body? All that they can do is to furnish the materials to keep the system in such a condition that vital force can manifest in and through it. The inflow of life force into the cells and organs of the body and its free distribution by way of the nervous system depend upon a normal or healthy condition of the organism. Anything and everything in the natural methods of living and of treatment that will help build up the blood on the normal basis, that will purify the system of waste and morbid matter, that will correct mechanical lesions and harmonize mental and emotional conditions, will ensure a greater supply of life force and its derivatives, strength, vitality, resistance, and recuperative power. In other words, the more normal, healthy, and perfect the organism, the more copious will be the inflow of vital energy. Foods, fasting, and psychic development. When such exhaustive researchers as Dr. Lindler must go outside the body to find the source of its vital energy, is it not time for others too to recognize the omnipresent force working all about them and through them? It is impossible here to go into the study of foods and dietetics, to study of foods and its effects upon life constituents and science in itself. Plainly, different foods bring upon different conditions in the body, some seeming to supply more energy, some less, depending, no doubt, upon the way in which they attract or repulse the vital energy which is cosmic, and which is held by the astral body, the condenser of cosmic energy. It is probable that the negative and positive charges in foods in some unknown manner affect the astral body. The physical body is built up by the foods because the basic elements of matter constituting both foods and flesh are united, but the energy is manifested in and through the astral counterpart. There is an occult doctrine regarding food, says Carrington. It is that a vegetarian diet tends to make the molecules of photoplasm shorter and more sensitive to shorter wavelengths. It is quite conceivable that it should actually do this. We know that a bar of iron becomes magnetized when all the molecules of its structure are, as it were, pointed in the same direction. If you strike a magnet of this type a sharp blow with a hammer, or heat it red hot and allow it to become cool again, it will be found to have lost its magnetism. What has happened? Probably the molecules of iron, which before had been uniform in their polarity, are now pointing in all directions, and hence the energy which formerly played on or through the bar of iron in one continuous unbroken stream is now broken up and playing in 1,000 different directions. Hence the iron will no longer be magnetic. It is possible that something of the same sort takes place in the body, and that its molecules, when finally attuned by rhythm and acting in unison, may allow a flow through the body of energies which would otherwise be limited or altogether restrained in their actions. This is merely by way of suggestion, which one may take for what it may be worth. Mr. Prescott F. Hall, in a most interesting article in the Journal of the American Society of Psychical Research says, I've never heard that term. Society of Psychical Research says a vegetable diet tends to loosen the vibric matter of the astral body, and vegetables, fruits, and prunes make the blood able to attract spiritual power. Carrots are also beneficial. Nuts, especially peanuts, are bad, especially near the time of sitting for development, as they tend to make one's atmosphere of one colour. Raw eggs are favourable. Liquids are favourable to development. Fasting often helps the liberation of the astral body. You will notice that Mr. Hall has stated that liquids are favourable to development, yet he does not state in what way they are beneficial, nor to what type of development. I must take exception to this, and shall shortly point out that in developing astral projection, abstinence from liquids constitutes an important positive factor. However, Mr. Hall is correct in his assertion that fasting often helps the liberation of the astral body. It is enough to say that food is one of the most vitally important factors of life, but it is as necessary to eat the right kind of food as it is to eat at all. I know that in stating this fact I shall arouse the ire of many spiritualists who think along the lines of mental healing and Christian Science, their motto being, "Leave the food question alone, the mind will take care of that." While healing by the power of the mind is not by any means an untruth, the idea that one can ignore the food question is ridiculous. Food is as necessary as breathing. Why not stop breathing and let the mind take care of that? The question is, do these people eat? If so, why? They will answer that they eat because it is necessary to sustain physical life, but that it makes no difference what they eat, just so it be labelled food. Now, if it be necessary to eat at all, it is necessary to eat properly. I wonder if the mental healers could eat dirt and by using their minds make it nourish their bodies. They would say dirt is not food, but many of these things eaten by us every day belong to the same category. For instance, it is not generally known, but many investigators know that much of the so-called whole wheat sold in America is little less than ground corn cobs. Concoctions sold for whole wheat sometimes contain much as 3/4 of the stuff hogs refuse to eat. Dr. Ward and others have pointed this out after investigation. If it be true that the mind can take care of the food question, why not let the mind take care of eating too? There is just one standpoint in this matter. If it is necessary to eat at all, it is necessary to eat the proper elements of food. Eating, breathing, and sleeping are natural laws. We cannot ignore a single one of these without suffering ill effects, not in this earthly life, at least. Page 147, fasting increases the inflow of cosmic energy. Just a little pointer, I'm not recommending to anyone to stop eating, I'm not giving any advice in regards to dietary requirements. This is the following of the readings here. Page 147, fasting increases the inflow of cosmic energy. But one of the three sources of energy, sleep is the most important. And it may readily be seen that if we could eat, drink, and breathe properly, we should sleep less and still retain the needed amount of energy, and that if we slept more, we should not require the usual amount of food. And this is one of the reasons why fasting is promotive of astral projection. When the fast is in progress, one of the secondary sources of energy is cut off, and in order to retain in the system the needed amount of energy, the astral body at night is thrown further out of coincidence in order to collect a greater charge of cosmic energy to balance the loss. That is why people can undergo long fasts without losing energy, and in some cases actually increasing their energy. Some may say, how is that? While taking a fast, the patient sleeps no longer yet retains enough energy to make up for the deficiency. In other words, how can the subject collect more energy while fasting, through sleep, than while not fasting, and still sleep the same length of time? The answer is that it does not depend upon the length or duration of sleep, but upon the distance of separation of the astral and physical bodies during sleep. Remember that the astral body discoincides from the physical during sleep for the purpose of recharging, and the farther out the physical it emerges, the more easily does it condense to the cosmic force. Thus we can see the relation of fasting to the astral projection. The more profound the sleep, the more inactive the body, or more incapacitated, the greater will be the distance which the astral counterpart will move out. That is why in the hypnotic sleep the subject can derive as much benefit in a short time as in a much longer period of natural sleep. Excuse me. The Orientals grasped the significance of this cosmic force long ago. They called it prana, and Swami Bhaktavishita defines it as thus. It is a subtle form of energy permeating the universe, but manifesting in a special form in the organism of the human body. This subtle force, or prana, is held to be capable of being transmitted from one organism to another, and it is held to be the energizing power by means of which many forms of occult and magic phenomena can be produced. Prana is very much akin to the human magnetism of the Western occultists, and the properties attributed to the latter are really those which the Orientals for centuries past have held to be among the essential properties of prana. So at the least there is found a practical agreement here between the Oriental and the Western schools of occultism, respectively, in spite of their differing terminology. This cosmic energy has many faculties. One of these is the healing faculty. Every ill that is cured by cosmic energy. Medicine, chiropractic, Christian Science, and every other healing method depend upon the prana to bring about the cure. All that any curative method can do is to assist. When ailing, if you take fast, you not only assist nature in clearing the poisons from the body, but you automatically increase the inflow of cosmic energy, the curative energy. America's foremost authority on yoga, Hereward Carrington, states in his Higher Physical Development that the Hindus have a whole mythical system of physiology. They claim that there are certain energy carriers, or nadis as they call them. There are 72,000 of these, and each of them has innumerable ramifications. If you take a scalpel or a knife and dissect the human body, you will not find these centers. But the Hindus say, they are not composed of physical matter, but of the astral matter. Therefore, not having any astral senses, you cannot see them. These energy carriers are the storage centers and chief means of circulating the prana. Again, in the same book, we find doctors say we need more sleep, about 8 hours usually. If you sleep 8 hours a day, you spend a third of your life in sleep. It seems rather a waste of time. The Hindus said, cannot we get rid of some of this waste? Cannot we reach a state in which where we no longer require sleep? By following out these exercises, this system of diet and living, which Mr. Carrington explains in detail, they were enabled to cut down their hours of sleep very much. In practice, we find that the curve of sleep runs thus. We start with what we call the threshold of consciousness. It sinks when we fall to sleep and then gradually rises again, so that immediately after you fall to sleep, you're at the deepest point, and from that point it is a gradual upward curve until you awaken. The query is it not possible to deepen that curve so that you enter into a deeper sleep and require less of it? The Hindus think that they have found a method of artificially deepening sleep and not spinning in and out so long, and we in the West have partially done this by means of hypnotism. All this has an important bearing upon the subject, and we are studying astral projection. I believe this is the first time anyone has ever put forth the claim that the astral body discoincides during sleep for the purpose of recharging, and that the depth of sleep and the amount of recuperation depend upon the distance the astral and the physical bodies, i.e. the greater the distance of separation, the freer the inflow of cosmic energy or prana into it. And does not all this show us convincingly that the weaker the individual, the more adaptable he is to extensive projection of the astral body? I assert, in spite of what other authorities maintain, that morbidity is a positive factor in projection. For my part, I cannot see what reasons can be advanced to refute this statement, although I readily admit that this is far more dangerous to attempt extensive or prolonged projections with an ill-functioning physical mechanism. Do not form the idea that I am advising you to produce morbidity intentionally as a positive factor for projection. I am merely trying to make it plain how perfectly ridiculous is the claim that good health is a necessary factor in the art of astral projection. If this were true, that good health is necessary, the nearer one came to death, the weaker he became, the harder it would be for him to die, permanently project, but common sense shows us that this is not true. Another common belief is that we burn up our energy, but what we really do is externalize our energy, i.e. the neuric energy externalizes from the astral body. In the individual of the nervous temperament, the externalization is very pronounced, and that is the reason why the individual is neurotic. I believe it was mentioned that this exteriorization of energy can be measured by certain instruments. If you could cut off the excessive externalization of energy in the neurotic individual, the nervous temperament would disappear. It is easily seen that persons of nervous temperament require more recharging during sleep than individuals of other temperaments. One set of bodily exercises and postures will cause the cosmic energy to externalize, while another set of exercises and postures will cause the energy to interiorize. It has been discovered that fear will fill the bloodstream with poisons almost instantly. It is claimed that for this reason a person becomes weak when in the grip of fear. I'm going to tell you why fear weakens, and this is the first time anyone has made this claim. Fear externalizes the neuric energy from the astral body, automatically weakening the victim. Nothing causes externalization of nervous energy as completely and as quickly as fear. If it were true that energy is burned up, there could be no condition of instantaneous enervation, such as we have in the grip of fear. Energy is omnipresent and indestructible. It is not created, nor is it burned up. It is internalized and externalized, and it is condensed in the astral body. When projected in the astral body and conscious, one can observe this neuric energy. That is, he can see its colour and condensation in the bodies of others. It is luminous like white light. It is the energy which gives the astral body its phosphorescent appearance. It is the Sorry, I'm coming to the end of my tether now. It is the scintillations. It is the scintillations of the condensed energy which trail along behind the phantom when the latter is moving at the intermediate speed. Although the glow of the neuric energy can be seen throughout the entire body, it is condensed mostly in the centre of the body. It is very luminous in the centre of the body, at the solar plexus region. I have noticed this many times. Andrew Jackson Davis used to say that he always saw the nervous system in the interior of the body, though full of light. It is my belief from astral observation that the great storehouse of condensed energy in the human being is located at the solar plexus region. We have physiological indications too that this is true. I told you that the fear causes instantaneous externalization of neuric energy, and true enough, we always feel the effects of fear in the solar plexus. The astral projector, when conscious, can see the neuric energy. It is interesting to know that spirits usually speak of mediums as lights. So we're going to finish there on page 151, and we'll continue with how fasting aids astral projection. Thank you very much, and I will look forward to following on with the next reading in the next couple of days. I appreciate you. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much.